Explorers, welcome back to the Starfield Lorecast. This is your host, Tom, or Robots. Dave Chaffins is on vacation somewhere out in the galaxy today, but in his place, it's the end of the month. This is the last Monday of the month. This is our time slot for doing our patron chat with some of the people who support the show. And we have 3 of our patrons here for our first official patron chat. And I'm super excited about this. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to introduce each of you and give you a moment to say, hi, this is who I am and whatever. Let's just go through in order of what's on my screen. Turbo Toboggan. He's been with some of my shows for a long time. Cyberpunk and Witcher and some of these other lorecasts that I do. Welcome, man.
I actually outlived you on Cyberpunk, but that's only one.
Yeah, well, I've moved on from the Witcher lorecast also, but you know, sometimes I take these projects and got to catch up with the latest episodes. Yeah, Ben of Temeria is now co-hosting with Toasty. But you know, new games come out, I launch new shows, and sometimes I hand off the shows to the other hosts, and they carry it forward, and I move on to new projects. It's kind of part of the fun of having a network with other good hosts that you can just be like, yeah, you guys can handle this now. I'm going to go do something else. So, welcome to the show.
Hello.
I'm so glad that you decided to support this project, and I hope you've been enjoying Starfield, but we're going to get to that in a minute because I got to introduce the rest of the hosts. We have Marcus Shepard joining us. Welcome, Marcus.
Commander Marcus Shepard.
Commander Marcus Shepard. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, Commander.
I've been a fan for a while, since pretty much the start of the Mass Effect Lorecast. I kept along while I was in college, and it was a good thing to keep me busy while in my downtime and keep me sane. But yeah, I was very happy to hear about the Starfield Lorecast. I actually didn't find it until the game was just about to release, because I just had to find material to listen to while up to the game's release. So yeah,
well, that's awesome. I'm so glad that the shows have, you know, filled that gap for you, because I know that's what podcasts have always done for me. And it's really cool to make content that people feel the same way about. And yeah, the show's kind of been one of those off and on things every so often for a few years, until we really started ramping it up more for the release of the game. And now it's a regular weekly thing. So thanks for being here. And then we also have Nova returning, another supporter of the other show, one of the other shows I do, the Fallout Lorecast. Welcome, Nova.
Hello. I am on my phone driving home, so ignore my crummy quality.
We'll do our best. Sometimes that happens, but I'm glad you made it. And I'm so excited to talk to other people who have been playing Starfield and people who are nerding out as much as Dave and I have been. And we've been talking about this with other content creators, but to bring you guys on and hear your perspectives is exciting for me. Today's episode, we're talking about the best moments, some of our funniest moments, some of the things that came out of sideways, the stuff that we didn't expect. And I'm going to open this up. Who would like to start us off? Who would like to go first? Anybody in particular have a fun story? Turbo, you kicking us off?
I got a couple, but I'll start with the one that happened first. I got to New Atlantis. Can we talk about that far?
Yes. So yeah, let's clear this up for our listeners. We're still being fairly spoiler free. We're not digging into the deep lore stuff. And in general, if anybody you can bring up locations that you get to early in the game. Any of that's fine. You can talk about, oh, this is a faction or that's a faction, because we all know who the factions are. But don't reveal anything that goes later on in the storylines for factions or the main quest line or anything like that. So we're going to try to keep that stuff off limits. And if you have to name somebody and you don't run into them like in the first 4 or 5 hours of the game, maybe just be vague about it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, the first weird thing, like the interesting happening at me, is I went to New Atlantis. I tried landing New Atlantis. I somehow just misclicked and landed my own landing spot right next to it.
So instead of landing on the landing pad where you normally get out and you're like right there in front of the city, you're like out in the wilderness. Did you see the city at a distance?
I didn't get that far to look at it, because the thing happened. I'm like, oh, what's going on? And I walk a little bit out from my ship so I could look all the way around. Well, there was this rock pipe. I'm like, oh, I'll get on top of this rock so I can see further. As I get near the rock, there's a lot of dead animals just all around. I'm like, what happened here? Not thinking anything. And all of a sudden, one of the plants that was next to me starts moving and kills me, because it was one of these little giant stick insects. The plant, I thought it was a plant.
Right.
And I'm just looking at all this stuff, because I had my scanner out, because I was trying to figure out what killed I was looking at all the dead bodies, and I just see one of the highlighted things start moving, and it's one of those horror movies like when the things in the background starts moving towards the person kills it. That thing killed me so fast because I'm playing on very hard.
Oh man, you're playing on very hard too. Wow.
I'm still playing very. The only time I turned it off was during the UC when the mission's free. You know how you go down and you take that test.
Right.
I could only get to
Early
level
on,
5 of
yeah.
it on very hard. I'm like, you know what? I want to see if I can beat level 6. So I'm like, I saved it, and I'm like, okay, I'll go back. I just want to try to see if I can do it.
Right.
I still couldn't beat level 6 unless I added on. You know what you do in the computer.
Right. Level 6 is crazy hard. This is the Vanguard test, and this is early on in the Vanguard mission. It's one of the first things you do. So I feel like this isn't too spoilery. And you take a test where you get in a little simulation and you pilot your fighter, right?
Only get to 5. I got to 5 on very hard, and it's because I was cheesing it because I would have to hide behind asteroids and wait for them to come around. And I just kill them. I cheesed it. I get level 5. Level 6, I can only get halfway through, and it's like I'm dead in the water. Like my ship doesn't move anymore. It's like I'm out of the asteroid. It's like you guys got me.
Yeah, there are so many ships in 6. It's like everybody, even if you just take on one guy and like try to get away from the rest of them, everybody just shoots you and you die.
Missile lock on. It's just like I'm just constantly having missile lock on, and I'm pushing boost or maneuvering at the last second. It's like, oh, that thing is hard. Even on E, I switched to E because I'm like, I bet I could beat on EV. Very hard. It got maybe it's like, no. I finally beat it on very easy, but I had to use the debugging.
Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's tuned for if you do it later and you're a higher level and you have a certain upgrades to your flight upgrades for your flight perks. Otherwise, it's nigh impossible, I guess. Also, you have a watch. You have the Constellation watch.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. I noticed that in the background. That's really cool. What do you think about it?
It's nice. I like it. I like smartwatches like with the screen because with a regular watch, when I turn it or if I head into my watch, I gotta be careful. This one doesn't matter at all because it'll rotate eventually to I can actually look like this and it'll be up and down instead of.
Oh, that's interesting. The face rotates
and
like
it has
display.
It has all the features like and stuff. It got your steps. It got some weather, moon. It has
gravity, toxin, radiation.
It does have. I don't know if these extra instructions work, but it has like acceleration, how much pressure you're under, mag, and then temperature.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
Mag is like but you can say it says right now I'm after 1G, which is no offense. It's 1 atmosphere.
Right. You're on Earth. You're on the surface of Earth, so it makes sense that it's 1G right now.
1G.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Man, you got into a lot of stuff right here. I want to open this up to everybody. Did you guys have similar experiences when you were exploring, come across creatures, or piloting the ships?
I did, especially when it comes to that specifically the UC flight test. That level 6 is meant to be impossible. If you get past it, the captains that are evaluating your exam, they have a lot of nice things to say about you, and you get quite a bonus, a sign-on bonus, you'd say, whenever you're signing up for the UC Vanguard. So it's definitely a worthwhile venture if you can outlast it. But it is very, very difficult, especially without the hidden debugging mode. So, but,
I think I tried maybe a dozen times and then I gave up. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do this. It's just not going to happen.
There is a way or two that you can cheese it, but it's still worth the challenge, at least to get used to the space flight. I think that's what the intentions of the devs were, is to really show you how overwhelming the fighting sense can be. But just being able to be comfortable in your ship, it gives you the playground to do it. That's a simulation for that.
Right. It's also very useful for if you're leveling up some of your flight perks.
Yes.
So if you have you need to destroy this many ships, you could just fly around and see if you can find pirates or spacers or whatever and just blow them up. Or you could just keep doing that until you hit the check mark for a number of ships destroyed or whatever. So
it's perfect for that piloting skill. So you can get up to the higher tiers and therefore get to the bigger class ships. Yeah, it's perfect.
Right. Yeah. Nova, do you have any thoughts on any of this? Is Nova? There you are.
Yet to. Yeah, sorry, I've just been listening. I have yet to really go out and do all that much. I tend to use the first playthrough of games just to explore the world. Like I said with my New Vegas back when you're doing that story special and the Fallout. Like the first entire month of me playing New Vegas was literally me just exploring around the starting area basically. And so I'm kind of doing the same thing in Starfield, where I just got to Aquila City. Honestly, I'm just looking around. I did the same thing in New Atlantis. And so I'm just exploring and seeing what's interesting, what's cool, looking at stories and doing it. So I have not yet really got my hands wet or my boots dirty, I guess, you could say, and like gotten into the nitty gritty. I've gone to Constellation and that's about it.
Okay. But what about while exploring the wilderness? Have you had a moment similar where you were like, oh, look at those creatures over there. Why are these all dead? Oh God, this plant monster is killing me now.
No, I've mostly been exploring the city, not going out into the wilderness.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Turbo, you got any other details about this you want to share, or are we ready to move on to somebody else?
About this incident, I got a different incident. It was just, I just found it because I heard what's the video? I don't know if this is just Mandela effect, but I remember in the video when they're saying you can someone says the ecosystems go on when you're not there. They're still. It's actually, if there's an apex predator, you sometimes are going to find that being an apex predator. It's not just going to be, they're the strong things. Sometimes they're out there just eating and stuff like that. And that thing's not an apex predator, but that thing usually does it. And I eventually killed that thing. It didn't kill me. It didn't kill. It's because I already had I had some of the weapons because when the guys attack your mining thing, I had some of theirs, and I'm very hard. I got lucky and I got some nice loot.
Yeah. So the way that the animals work is interesting because you do have the predators, you do have the ones that are more docile, that are like herbivores and stuff like that. You also have scavengers. So if you watch them long enough, the predators will attack some of the others when they come across them, leave their corpses. And then if you wait long enough, scavengers will come by and scavenge the corpses of the dead animals. There's actually an ecosystem going on in a lot of different locations with animals. And it's one of those things that you can miss unless you specifically look for it.
Oh, yeah. And I also learned that those bug plant things hunt in packs.
Right.
I killed one of them, and killing one of them pissed off the other ones because they followed me until I barely got back to the ship. Vasco saved my life. I should have died. I should have died.
Yeah, you got away. Yeah, it's interesting. Some of them are solo hunters.
Yeah, I was out of med kits and everything. I was like, if this thing would have been a TV show, you would have seen me going, Vasco, just yelling as you see Vasco. As I'm about to pass out, Vasco just comes over the horizon, unloads, picks up my passed out carcass, goes to the ship, takes off. I wake up, landing in New Atlantis, going, what happened?
Wow, that's great. That's crazy stuff. Well, thanks, Turbo. All right, let's move on. Who wants to go next? Marcus, do you want to start, Commander?
Sure. One of the random counters that came to mind whenever I think of one of my highlights for the game has to be the Valentine. I don't know if anybody else has come across it, but it was a huge surprise to enter a solar system to be immediately greeted with a beautiful melody of a lovely sea shanty, but a space-themed one. And lo and behold, there happens to be the Valentine there, giving us a full, lovely song. I almost teared up just hearing it because it was just such a beautiful, beautiful rendition of a sea shanty, but a space version. The lore is kind of tied in there because it's I think it's called the Lady of New Atlantis, I think is the title. But it's probably by far the best random encounter I've come across. It was a beautiful thing to see and hear.
Yeah, sea shanty, the whole space pirates, space is an ocean kind of thing. It totally makes sense that you throw in moments with sea shanties or other random things that happen. I find space in Starfield to very, very much be a cross between the open ocean, the exploring of the open ocean, but also kind of like the Wild West. It's like this mishmash of both of those, right? So you've got ships out at sail, coming across other ships, or, you know, coming into port, that kind of thing. But then you also have the sort of lawlessness and I guess pirating. Like you've got like the 1800s of like 15, 16, 17, 1800s of like, you know, like pirating and that open ocean. That's kind of like the Wild West in and of itself anyway. I guess it's, you know, a little redundant, but
it's the new frontier, which is space, which they always say, at least to astronauts and engineers who are going into space, you have to treat it just like you're going underneath the ocean, because it's a pressurized system. You cannot go outside the ship whatsoever, because then it's a threat to your life.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect mix of that Navy sort of militaristic feel and the new frontier of being able to explore. It's a lovely thing being in a sci-fi game, being able to experience Starfield, especially nowadays. There definitely isn't anything. Well, there's some games that are similar, but they don't quite capture the feel that I'm having with Starfield. I'm loving it. So.
Yeah. And the human aspect of that is one of the things that I find the game really taps into, whether it's the Valentine and sea shanties. Like, what are people doing while they're out here at space for long times by themselves, bored, or running into grandma, like people have seen grandma. It was in the trailer stuff that they put out, like in some of the early previews. But like, there's this old woman who's retired, and she just wants to go out and explore the universe before she dies. And she gets lonely. And so she invites people to come on over for meals. And there's just something really quaint about that. But also it resonates with me on like a human level, like this is what kinds of stuff would people get up to out here? And yeah, it would be all sorts of, it's not just people being like, I'm a pirate, I'm going to take your stuff, giving me your money, or I'm going to blow your craft up. It's going to be all sorts of things. And they really dive into that pretty well.
Oh, yeah. I just hope that this isn't our only encounter with the Valentine. I hope to see him again in the future. So,
yeah, that's the other thing, is that having still only played for a few weeks, I don't know the full extent of some of these situations, some of the characters, some of the random encounters. Do they come back again? If you find a settlement on a planet and you go back and visit later, do things really change much? Can you randomly come across the same ship in two different locations? I've heard one story of that happening so far. But like how much does that actually affect your playthrough? And like I'm sure if you were to sit down with the devs and say, how much has the community found and discussed online so far? I bet they're going to say things like, oh, there's like 50% of stuff that nobody's even brought up yet. Because that's just kind of how these games are. Like, people are still discovering stuff in, Skyrim and Fallout 4 and whatever. And a lot of the main stuff everybody finds, but there's little things in little corners or little quirks if you just handle the quest line in a different way or go back later, and like dialogue that pops up that was kind of hidden. So I'm excited to see what that becomes and what continues to get uncovered. So
for sure.
Did you guys, either of the two of you, did you come across the Valentine? No? Turbo's shaking his head no. I'm guessing Nova is either can't respond or is also a no. Yeah, Nova?
No, I did not find it.
Yeah, I haven't either. This is a new one for me, so I'll be looking for it as I travel around. Marcus, do you have any other stories you want to share?
Well, I did want to point out, I actually did get the Constellation Edition too. I haven't had a chance to try out the smartwatch, but I love everything about it. My favorite part, I think by far, this is my favorite collector's edition that Bethesda has come out. Honestly, almost one of my favorites of all time, just for the simple fact that the case is awesome, the watch is awesome, but the coolest part is that the game comes on a little cred stick, a little metal actual cred stick, and I absolutely love that thing. I adore that thing. It's got the official print saying it's the official currency of the United Colonies or whatever it says the printing thing on. It's a very unique take. It's so much better than just getting a slip of paper or like what a previous game gave me, a cardboard disc that just had a code on it. It was like, yeah, okay, but it actually fits perfectly in your steelbook, and it's unique. I love it. Thank you, whoever came up with that idea in the marketing team. I hope to see more like that with collector's editions. It makes me very proud as a collector to have. Yeah, that's really cool. Turbo just showed it on the screen. So anybody who's listening to this, if you want to check out the video version, it's going to be up on the Robots Radio YouTube channel. You can see our beautiful faces, and Turbo's showing off some of the stuff on the screen. But yeah, I love when you get
like items from that world, the world of the game that we're playing physically, and you can touch it and be like, oh, this is what a cred stick actually looks like. This is what it feels like. And you know what I would love? Like, if any of the developers are listening, or the merch team or whoever, you know how in these games and a lot of other Bethesda games, you come across books that give you like permanent perks or permanent upgrades or whatever. And in Starfield, it's the magazines you come across, right? Wouldn't it be so cool to have a stack of like all the different magazines, or at least all the covers on like, you know, like some sort of really nice paper stock or something. And then you could kind of display them out on a table or put them on a shelf somewhere. I think that would be really cool.
I'm not sure who it was, but I thought there was a company, I think maybe it was like Displate, that did something similar when it came to the Fallout magazines. I think there was a couple that they had that they put as little things that you could put on the wall. But other than that, yeah, I would love to see just, you know, a little collage of all of the covers and whatnot, because they're very unique art. They're very collectible. Having that in a actual physical merchandise sense, I'm sure fans would be all over it. So
yeah,
would love to see it.
Turbo or Nova, do you guys have any thoughts about merch that you would love to see in the future?
And you can go.
Go ahead. I just drew a blank as soon as I opened my mouth.
I was gonna say make an actual credit card out of the cred stick. That'd be funny.
Oh, that'd be cool. Like you could just like put it on the little credit card reader, and it just like does the little Wi-Fi read thing.
Yeah. Or
Bluetooth. I don't even know what that is. Near field tech.
I don't know. I'm assuming it's probably just like a Bluetooth somewhat, because, well, I guess what it does is send out radio waves or microwaves, and you know, it wirelessly powers it and it just gets the signal from it or something like that. But anyway, so that's something I would enjoy. There'd be a huge backlog of things that we need to do, but that'd be actually pretty cool though. Just like, oh, hey, here's my cred stick credit card.
Yeah, I think it's also very possible considering that Microsoft just released their Xbox credit card. So that is a possibility. Is an idea.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Turbo, did you remember what you were going to say? No? Nope. All right. Well, if it comes to you later, feel free to share it. Marcus, anything else?
There was two other like big like story missions that really stuck out to me. I don't know how far everybody else has gotten. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's one specific quest that's part of the main quest. It's much later on near the end.
Mm-hmm. I think I know which one you're going to talk about. It has something to do with locations changing.
It very much, I feel, is very motivated by the campaign of Titanfall 2. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but there's a specific mission on there where you're blipping back and forth between two places, and you're basically able to maneuver like a maze between two points. And I love it. It's a callback. Made me happy to experience that. It also has a very
Dishonored. It feels like Dishonored in a way.
A lot of people have brought up Dishonored as a heavy motivation. It's got that gruesome, dark sort of feel to it while you're going back and forth. Love that mission. Hope that they keep implementing cool things like that, especially with a very heavy sci-fi thing. So,
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And this came to mind today when I was thinking about this episode and having everybody on talk about their favorite moments. I think that quest is my definitive, and I rarely say this is a favorite. I think so far that's my favorite quest in the entire game. It is extremely well done. It makes exploring the environments very interesting from a lore perspective, but also slightly confusing and enjoyable in the way that you can figure out where to go without just like, oh, there's a point over there, I'm just going to find my way through the building until I get to the point, right?
It's also very important that there's very minute details that you have to pay attention to, because they point out this is one of those things that has like branching choices. You could this or that.
Yeah.
There's a hidden option. You just got to dig for it. You got to pay attention. I think once people get to that point, I think they'll understand. Hopefully they just find it. That's the key. That's the key. It took a minute for me to find it. So.
Yeah, we'll probably cover it on a future episode at some point because it ties into the lore in a very interesting way, and the nature of reality and all of that stuff. So, but we're not going to spoil it any more than just like those details. And I think that's vague enough that people are going to be like, "Huh, I don't know what that means," but you know, I look forward to experiencing it. So yeah, we're absolutely on the same page on that one. I think that one's great. Have you guys come across this one at all? I don't think Nova, you've been still doing early stuff. Turbo's shaking his head no. So
Yeah,
you've got some treats, especially in the main quest line for some of the stuff that comes up. It's particularly well done, in my opinion. Well, thanks, Marcus, for sharing. We need to take a break and thank our patrons. We're going to thank you guys and everybody else who supports the show. And then we'll be back in a minute and we're going to get Nova's stories. So don't go anywhere. All right, here we are in the middle of the show, and I'm going to try to make this quick so we can get back to talking. We have Worst Action Hero who signed up in the last week. Welcome to the Patreon. Thank you for being here and supporting the show. You get shout outs every week also because you and Commander Marcus Shepard are our two Space Lords currently. So thank you to both of you, Worst Action Hero, Commander Marcus Shepard, for your support. And if you were interested in supporting the show, getting on the patron chats every month at the end of every month on the last Monday of every month, then you can sign up at patreon.com/Starfield Lorecast. You can also get ad-free episodes and t-shirts or stickers, lots of different cool stuff. Also, if you'd like to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, we would love it. 5-star reviews get read out on future episodes. And you can also rate the show on Spotify or whatever podcatcher you're listening to this on if it allows you the ability to do that. So thank you to everybody who has supported the shows in those ways or shared it with your friends or whatever. We couldn't do this without you, and it makes a huge difference. So thank you so very, very, very much. Also, just wanted to share this one while we're in the middle of the episode because Worst Action Hero signed up but couldn't make it tonight. So they wrote a description of their experience that they wanted to share on this episode. So I'm going to read through this and you guys feel free to respond to this once I'm done reading. It says here, I came to gaming late in life. I didn't get an Xbox until I was between marriages. And then it was a hand-me-down from a kid who got it herself, who got herself an Xbox One. I have always gravitated towards open world gaming and being a space opera nerd, open cosmos. Starfield has blown my mind and excavations. That said, after going murder hobo with Sophia Grace on the moon, when we came across some abandoned facility, we decided to check out what was on Titan. So far, anything funny and this level of cheese happens in New Homestead. Titan, the town doc, frustrated by treating tourists who do dumb stuff on Titan, asked me to put on a tardigrade spacesuit she picked up from a film company and was trying to make a B movie and scare the tourists and give New Homestead a bad rep. Honestly, I can see this backfiring. I laughed so hard playing this. I even tried chasing Sophia, but she wasn't having any of it. So now on occasion, I will put on the monster spacesuit and my crew will put on Neon City Dancer outfits and we will just cruise around. On one occasion, Sophia and I played around the resort at Paradiso. She was still not having any of it. So that's awesome. That outfit is hilarious, by the way. So you need to go find that on Titan if you haven't done it already. Thank you, Worst Action Hero. Hope you can join us on future episodes, and thank you for supporting the show. All right, that's the middle of the show. Let's get back to the rest of this, and we'll tune into everybody else as we do that. So do you guys have any of these moments where you dress everybody up funny and go do weird roleplay stuff in the game? Or are you still just like getting through the main content so far?
I'm still trucking away. I'm really starting to crack on the faction quest now. I'm loving those. As for like outfits and stuff, I'm very pleased with the amount of clothing that is in the game. There's even there's some that are very, very similar. They follow an aesthetic and it has like its own clothing line, and I really like that. There's an important sense of fashion when it comes to RPGs. At least it is, in my opinion. How your armor looks, how your just casual look is, and I think it's very important in a more sci-fi kind of game because you're not always in danger. You want to be able to kind of dress up, look fancy, and I love seeing all the different outfits where you can acquire them. Even the goofiest ones, where the costumes and stuff. I actually did not know where you could get that. I've seen that outfit before, but it's good to know people are having fun with it. So
yeah, I feel like that wasn't too spoiler. It's one of those little side missions you come across somewhere, but I'm sure a lot of people will be thankful. They'll be like, yeah, I saw that outfit just like you, and like, oh, now I'm gonna go to Titan, I'm gonna go get it. Because it's just hilarious to run around in like a bug costume. That's so good, especially when you're doing like serious quests to just look like a total goof. It's pretty good. It's pretty great stuff.
I'm interested to see if Halloween still exists in the lore of Starfield, because that'd be a perfect opportunity to try out all the different outfits and
yeah.
So.
I would imagine that we're also going to see mods with some more weird stuff like that, and then maybe even some things in the DLC or on the little store that they're going to incorporate at some point, where you can buy like a pack of like dress up like different creatures from different planets or whatever, right? And with the photo mode in the game, that makes that stuff even more fun, because you can post things and make it all, super goofy, and then share your pictures online or whatever. So yeah. So Nova, you're up. Do you have a favorite story so far?
Hello, and I do, and it is one that incorporates Bethesda magic, as we call it, crashing and bugs and everything like that.
Okay.
So, anyways,
right. Bethesda magic,
colloquially known as Bethesda magic. So, anyways, my friends, I was in a voice chat with some of my friends, Nomad, Dan, and Saucy, and they were curious about Starfield. They obviously heard the hype for it, and they were very excited. Well, not really, but like very excited to hear more about it. But they were on the fence, teetering if they should buy it or not. And so, me, the open world fanatic that I am, the RPG fanatic that I am, I'm like, oh, here, yeah, I'm just going to play it for you, and I'll show you what the game is like. And
it's
so
going to be awesome. Check this out.
Yes, I loaded
one of those
up
moments.
And immediately, all I can do is look up and down. I can't look left or right or anything. My arms are frozen out in a T-pose position, and my gun is just floating right in front of my face like it is the original Doom.
Awesome.
And I'm like, oh crap, this is a very terrible start. And I'm just kind of panicking, because I'm like, I want to try and make the game look good, obviously, because I want my friends to experience it as well, so we can talk about it. And so I load up a different save, or I load up a previous save, because I, obviously do a quick save and then a normal save and then an exit save, just to make sure that nothing's corrupted anything. So I do that. It's still bugged. So I freak out. I quit the game. I restart it. Luckily, for some reason, I'm still T-posed. But luckily, I figured it out. I just needed to switch to a different gun. Whatever gun I was using, just the game didn't like. I had the starting pistol, I think, out.
Weird.
Anyway, so that fixed it. And so my friend Nomad was asking me, "Oh, is this the same people who make Outer Worlds?" And I was like, "Kind of, in a way. They're joined partially, not really though, because this is Bethesda. This is space Fallout." And immediately as I say that, the game freezes and then crashes.
Uh-huh.
And so it was in a matter of probably like 3 minutes, that entire series of events goes down. So I was trying to show my friends a fun game, a game that I really enjoy so far, and it's just one bug. Oh, this is pretty cool. Crash.
Yeah. In a game that mostly works most of the time. Like, I think most people are only having very minimal amount of bugs. Like, you just got it's like you just rolled 2 natural ones like in a row.
Yeah.
It's like,
and
seriously?
Up to that point, I've only had one weird bug where I just couldn't stand. And I just loaded up, and then it fixed it. I reloaded to a different save. So that was the only bug I had. I've had like 16 hours inside the game, I want to say, roughly ish.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was just like you said, it was a series of unfortunate events that occurred one after the other. And of course, it is right when I'm trying to show my friends a game that I would encourage them to buy. So they were, to put it lightly, discouraged from buying the game.
So have they still not bought it?
No, they haven't yet. No. They are looking forward for the next Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 to come out, and they say they don't want to spend $70 on a game for this month when they're going to spend another $70 on in November.
Right,
so,
that totally makes sense. Plus, you could always come back and play it later. There's no rush to get through it.
Because Modern Warfare 3 is going to have like a month-long life cycle, and then it's going to die out. And I'm going to be like, haha, I told you so.
Yeah, there's going to be like 100,000 people playing it like online, killing each other, and then like a month later, it's going to be like 8,000 concurrent players. Good job.
Yeah, because the Modern Warfare series has become a total slog pit. It's absolutely terrible. Wow, I hate it. I'm the biggest still like Modern Warfare series now.
Yeah,
so
it's one of those.
Anyway, so back to Starfield. So yeah, that's what happened to me.
Yeah,
And I was very embarrassed, and I was also laughing, and then my friends were like, okay, come play Black Ops Cold War with us. I'm like, okay, that sounds like a good idea. So that's what we did for the rest of the night.
Nice. Yeah, Call of Duty games are one of those things I jump in every 3 or 4 years, and I'm just like, what's this like? And then I play it for a bit, and then I'm done playing it again. Can you hear us, Nova? I don't know if Nova can hear us anymore. So have you guys had any other major bugs or issues that you've come across, or anything weird really happening? Turbo's raising his hand. Turbo?
This bug is the reason I kind of rage quit my own character. My first character. I'm gonna go back to it. It was her name is Captain Olivia. She was a bounty hunter and stuff. And I get all the first thing off. We can take off of your ship, get off the planet. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go. One of my traits I picked was wanted. As I'm flying, I literally go into this system, and all of a sudden, 2 ships show up. But I'm like, what do they want? It's 2 of the bounty hunters showing up, saying, "Hey." I'm like, okay, I've run into you before. I skip their dialogue. We go into a fight. I destroy one ship, and I disarmed another ship. I went up, got in it, defeated all the guys, took it off. And I looked at it, like I looked through it. I'm like, okay, I got some contraband right here. Let's go to the wolf system. That's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm. A place where you can get rid of it. Sure.
Yeah, I went to there. Went through the whole ship. Looked. I took everything out, set it on the floor so I could go through all of it. I'm like, okay, here's the contraband. Get it off the ship. The rest can wait. I got it off the ship, and then I come back in my ship. I'm like, okay, I need to go to a planet. Went to the planet. Apparently, one of the contraband, I'm guessing, clipped through something.
Oh, no, so it's still on the ship, but you couldn't see it.
And I landed, and I'm like, I'm gonna go sell the ship. You can't register. At least I couldn't find the terminal to register it at where I went in the wolf system. I'm like, okay, let's go to there. And I'm like, I kept going to the planet. I keep being attacked. I'm like, I had to jump out. I'd come back. I'm like, where is this? I'm like, okay, I must have missed some. I literally tore this ship apart, landed on a random planet you can actually land on it, edited it, went, and I can't register it, so I can't edit it and make the thing unclip from wherever it's clipped into, because I've had items clip into stuff in the ship. I can't find this item, and it's driving me insane. And eventually I'm just gonna because I saw this character is really stuck being wanted by the UC. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna make this character. She just lands on the planet, doesn't realize that there's some contraband on the shit that she's like, it was self-defense. I took this ship. I don't know what's on it. It's not my stuff. I'm not contraband. Stop right. making me the villain. And then she's going to snap and go like, okay, you want to make me the villain? I'm being the villain. I'm joining the red fleet.
That sounds like your pirate, like Gone Postal character.
She was going to be my good character, my bounty hunter that went out, that helps the UC get rid of the bad guys. And it's like she became the villain.
She's got a new story, man. That's how it works.
I quit that character because I got so frustrated, and I started a new character. I made them a scoundrel, and I had the same incident happen where I got that. I'm like, you know what? No. We're going to the blue kilometer. Blue kilometer. We're going there. This is a scoundrel.
Okay, I get your code. Okay.
I knew about it from my other character. My scoundrel doesn't know, but I'm like, lore wise, they're a scoundrel. They know where to get the shielded cargo. I went straight there as soon as I got the first ship. I'm like, I went straight there and got it put on my ship. I'm like, nope, I want my shield. I'm not gonna happen again. This person's gonna stay good.
Nice. Yeah, my wife. I've been watching my wife play a lot, and she was on a vessel that she was saving. It was one of those little side quests you can get from the kiosk where you like, oh, pirates have taken over the ship. You got to save the commander of the ship and rid the pirates. You know. So she boards the ship. She kills all the pirates except for one. And it seems like the pirate is stuck in the ceiling. She's like, I need to go another level up. but I can't go up because there's no other level up. It's almost like the character was like, must have been like clipped through the ceiling and was floating outside or something. So she had to totally leave the quest, go do other stuff, and then come back. And when it reloaded, finally, after like doing some other quests, the pirates were actually in the ship. There was actually 2 left that she ended up killing.
I've had that happen on settlements, and then part of the settlement glitches out and does that fractal thing.
I haven't seen that.
I couldn't figure out how to record it. I'm like, I gotta record this and put this out there because this is the first time I've seen something go not fractal, but like it stretches and becomes origami.
Yeah. I've seen games do that before, where the geometry stretches weird. Like all of a sudden, it's like a graphic glitch.
It's like this is the first time I've seen this in Starfield, and I have not seen it anywhere else. I haven't gone looking for it, but
that's weird.
That's the only 2 glitches I've had is where an item will glitch and I just got unlucky in it being contraband. Usually when it happens, I'm like, oh, I lost a pen that I had just picked up because I do the Dave thing and release the pants.
You just like
and then go through it
and dump everything everywhere.
I get like, okay, I'm gonna keep this. Oh, that's a better gun than I have. Put it up on my gun rack.
Right.
I do that and then I just pick everything up, walk off my ship, and go sell it. And I'm like, oh, I lost a pen. And if every once in a while I'll edit my ship so anything that did get stuck in it, because if I realize my game's running a little slow, some stuff's probably stuck. Edit it, and then literally everything gets put in the inventory. I can take it off. I got unlucky and it was not my ship and I hadn't had it registered, so I couldn't do that and get the contraband off my ship.
Right. If you're considering using one of the console commands, if you're on PC, to give yourself like almost unlimited carry weight, you can do this. It's my wife was kept running up against carry weight limits and she just loves to collect everything. So I was like, here, let me just give you more carry weight. It'll be fine. It'll make your playthrough easier. So she's running around with like 7,000 pounds of stuff on her. But there's a problem with that in that when you have that many items, and I think it's specifically weapons and maybe armor, the game will start to slow down, and you'll notice it, not necessarily the frame rate when you're just running around a map, but if you switch to your scanner, it like hitches, and the more stuff you have, the longer it takes to load the scanner and switch to the cutter weapon. And then, or, the mining tool thing you have. And then if you switch back to your weapon, it hitches again. And then there were a few instances where she would either walk through like a loading screen door, or even just into a specific other section of a map that goes like into a building, and the game would just lock. And I was like, well, the one thing you have here that's different than default is 7,000 pounds of stuff. Maybe drop a bunch of stuff. She's like, oh, I don't want to have to drop all my stuff. They're worth so much money. I'm like, you're never going to find enough people to sell all those things too. Drop a bunch of the things that are like less valuable. She dumped that stuff off, and then the game wearing fine again. So if anybody else messes with that, then now you know.
What's amazing is that there's actually a mod already out that fixes that issue.
Oh, does it? Is there?
It's called the weapon stutter fix. Basically, what happens is anytime you pull out a weapon, or if you are carrying too many weapons, the game, as soon as it pulls it out, has to render and register every single weapon you have, every single attachment mod that's on it.
Wow. Okay.
It really just bogs down the CPU of the system, and unfortunately, it just doesn't keep up. But the weapon stutter fix seems to. I've only just started messing with some of the mods. They're mostly quality of life mods. Things like that have been addressed, and it looks like the modding network is already on it. So it's cool to fix, or cool to see that it's already getting fixed. So
yeah, that's great. That's great. Turbo?
Have they said anything about mods coming to console? Because I have console.
I'm pretty sure they're going to do that. Creation Club stuff is going to be added in eventually, which means modding on console. So
they say the official modding developing tools are supposed to come out next year, 2024. I'm assuming it'll follow shortly after.
Yeah. I can wait for however long, just so I know like it's coming, because I loved Fallout 4's mods and stuff on it, especially when it's character creator and I can get like that. There are people that waste a lot more time going through and doing it. Like there's people that made the villain from Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's first Spider-Man movie, the Green Goblin.
The Green Goblin?
I can't remember the actor's name.
The actor. Yeah.
Made it look exactly like, and I'm like, there's people that gaming companies should hire them to make the NPCs and stuff in the background, because these people, some of my characters look janky as like oh.
That's part of the fun. Yeah.
Yeah. They actually do hire modders too, by the way. There's There was one famous one on Skyrim. I think her name is Eleonora. She made beautiful interior mods, custom houses, player houses, and whatnot. They actually hired her, and she works for on the development team for Starfield. So she was actually on the project. So
there's a lot of people who have been hired from different modding teams over the years. It is, and if anybody's listening who's interested in getting into game dev, that is a viable path. Is learn as much as you can. Go to take classes or learn stuff online or whatever. Then cut your teeth in mod building, make awesome stuff. You'll get their attention, and then you can use that as part of your resume to say, like, look what I've already done in your game engine. Imagine what I could do if I worked for you, that kind of scenario. So it absolutely is a path towards that career. So, and it's cool. It's cool that developers like Bethesda hire from the community, because clearly these people love these games and they want them to be as awesome as they possibly can. So they're spending a lot of their own personal time in order to do that and then share that out with the community. So it's a wonderful thing. All right. So, man, these stories have been great. Anybody else have any other stories as we get close to the end of the episode that they want to share? Marcus?
I got two quick things. Both of them were bugs for me. They were both kind of the funny sort. The first one is that I don't know if you've ever noticed, but sometimes your companion likes to unnecessarily just vault over a table or something and use their jump pack.
Right. Yes.
I don't know. I've never seen this happen before, except this one time I had Andreja with me. We were on a planet that had low gravity, and there happened to be a table outside. She attempted to vault over it, but what ended up happening is she just took off into the sky, just flying away. And it was just like, oh,
there she goes.
Bye.
Yeah. When she does hilarious, she's very serious. She's very self-serious. So when she does silly things, it's like there was a moment in the Ryujin, like one of the boardrooms or whatever, and it's a very serious moment. And she just like gets up on the table. And it's like, everyone's
down. Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? Why would you stand on the table? Yeah.
There's some goofy interactions with the companions that's still part of that Bethesda magic that's carried over. So
it's so good. It's so
and then
good.
my other buggy experience. There was one time I made it to the Wolf system to sell some cargo, some suspicious cargo. I attempted to swap my ship, the home ship, and in the process, I don't know what happened, but whenever I go back to my ship, it says, "Do you want to enter the den?" And I was already on the den. I was like, "Okay, this is interesting." So I get on my ship, find myself teleported in the middle of New Atlantis, and I was like, "Okay." I try to go to any of the technicians, and according to the technicians, I am currently the pilot of the den.
That's your ship now?
The ship is my den.
Ship is the den?
The den is my ship. And for whatever reason, it's registered as my name for 0 credits. It was registered. It's worth $0. And all it is in the shipbuilder is literally just the hatch, the docking hatch of the space station. So I'm just like, okay. And it has something, the little blue bubble or whatever that you could like build off of, but unfortunately wouldn't let me attach anything. So it was just like super bugged out. I couldn't swap my ship either, so I was really frustrated. I was like, man, I really want to show everybody off that I own the den. But yeah, I had to load the back.
Could you fly it around, or was it just stuck there?
I was stuck in the middle of New Atlantis. If I went to if I fast traveled anywhere, it would just take me back to New Atlantis. It was like a stuck constant loop.
You were like, the size of the ship was that location in New Atlantis, right? Mm-hmm. Like that kind of thing. Yeah. Redbeard Ninja in chat says, I saw that in the patch notes for today. Yeah, there was a new patch that went up. So maybe they fixed it. Maybe that's something they've known. It also makes me wonder if the ship creator at some point was able to build buildings.
From what I've heard, there's actually people who have unlocked space station modules. I think there's actually somebody on Reddit that says that you can, in fact, own a space station and then build on it. I don't know if that was something meant to be part of the game, but that would be, or maybe just cool.
Part of how they did development. Like, let's use this tool to build the space stations, and then it isn't necessarily something players can access in the game, but it maybe speeds up the development of those items in the game.
It would make sense since the docking process is the same for ships and space stations.
Yeah, it would. Turbo?
Couldn't you technically make something that looked like a space station? Because there was a guy I watched on, I can't remember his name, on YouTube, but I watched it so I could figure out like the inside of some of the stuff, so I could learn. Like, I don't like how that looks. I'm not even going to go to that guy. That something like that. but some of the stuff she used to like show the things off, it looks like a space station with little modulars on it. So couldn't you technically make a space station? It would be the worst ship ever. Like it have zero mobility.
It's really nice. There's some people who have dedicated their time to making ships that are considered flyable that they can just say, but it basically has all of the hab modules, and they call it their preview ship. So you have a chance to walk through each of the habs with screenshots and whatnot for people to actually see and observe before they buy them. Because that is one thing that's unfortunate that's not in the game is the preview of all the hab modules that you put on your ship.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially like he show what happens if you put like a porthole on it, because it told me like, for this module, I don't want to put any portholes and I don't want to connect anything right here because you lose out on like a whole section of wall of weapon bays. And I'm like, that's free storage I lose.
Yeah, and you don't know unless you try it and then look at it later. Yeah. There are some advancements. I'm sure that stuff's really going to be highly modded, as time goes by. But the idea of like building a ship that looks like a space station, you would still need to have like the fundamental required components of a ship. But I would imagine that you could build a lot of the components that look very space station-y and maybe not even make it look like it's a ship, like put the engines in weird spots where they're kind of occluded a little bit or whatever.
To be fair, if a ship is big enough, it becomes a station.
It's just a space station. It's just a traveling space station. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for joining me on this and for supporting the show and all of that. I'm sorry Dave couldn't be here. I'm sure he's going to be jealous that we got to hang out and chat, but he'll join us next month. And Nova, I know your phone was being messed up or whatever, but I hope you can still hear us.
It's fine now. It's switched from headphones to the actual phone itself. And so I was like, where'd everyone go? And I realized what happened.
Yeah, got it. Cool. Well, tell you what, we're going to go back through, and this is your opportunity to share anything that you've got going on or shout out whatever projects you have thrown out into the world, or just, how people can get a hold of you or whatever. Turbo, you got anything you want to share?
Not at the current moment.
Cool. But you are on the Discord, so if people want to chat with you, they can tag you on there. If you want to catch
me, I'm on Discord. It's more easier if you want to get a hold of me is to actually just send me a message. And that's the best way to get a hold of me.
Awesome.
Because I don't always get on because I work nights, so I'm not up during the day. So if you want to talk to me about something, just message me.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. Commander Marcus Shepard, you got anything you want to shout out?
You've pretty much pointed it out. Yep, I'm Commander Marcus Shepard on just about all platforms, all gaming platforms. So you can always hit me up. I am on the Discord. I think I have everything linked on there. If anybody would ever like to reach out to me, I used to be a streamer at one point, but I kind of fell away from it. I would love to get back into it. We'll see if that comes to fruition. So.
All right. Well, good luck if that's what you decide to do. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. And then Nova, I know you got stuff.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel, which eventually I would like to start posting Starfield lore content onto, but nice. I'm waiting until I become more confident in my knowledge of the history and the universe of Starfield. So until then, I'm going to stick with Fallout. And then right now I actually created a timetable of things I would like, of videos I like to post on Fallout, and right now it's going to be the mad scientists. So not individual scientists, but scientific endeavors within the Fallout universe. Listing off a couple of them, going through the history of it and their effects. So that's going to be exciting. And that's probably what I'm going to be working on for the rest of the night.
Nice. Is that Supernova Gaming?
Oh yeah. It's Supernova. Capital S, capital N, 0, capital V, capital A. Look for the golden retriever icon on YouTube.
Awesome. Yeah, go check out Nova's stuff. And thank you again for joining me this week. Everybody, you guys have been listening to this show. robotsradio.net is where you can find my other shows, a bunch of different lore casts for the different Bethesda games and Lord of the Rings and all that stuff. Lots of fun stuff to check out. And of course, we stream this at twitch.tv/robotsradio. The videos go up on the Robots Radio YouTube channel. You can tune into all those different locations. Thank you for being here and for successfully getting us through this first month, the launch of the Patreon, all of that stuff. Dave and I are very excited about all the lore we're going to dive into starting next week. So lots of cool lore stuff to discuss and continue to be uncovering. This game is massive and there's just so much that we're excited to dive into. So thank you for being here. We'll be back next week. And until then, stay safe out in that crazy universe out there, because you never know what's going to happen, with the Bethesda magic. We'll see you next time.
Listening to the podcast. We hope that you enjoyed this show.
Did you know that parodies are copyright protected?
Tell a friend and review
On iTunes.
Or other services.
Dave and Tom excited for Starfield. Let's all speculate and wear no shoes.
Hey, why aren't we wearing any shoes?
Because shoes rhymes with iTunes, and that's the best I could think of.